Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you the Kafka Avro serialization and deserialization. So earlier video we saw that the Kafka cluster using Docker images, and today also we will see the Kafka setup with the help of Docker. And additionally, what we are going to do, we are going to use the schema registry image. So how this will work, like we will have a producer, and then we will have a Kafka cluster along with the schema registry, and at the end we will have the consumer. So the use case will be like if the end user wanted to consume the information with the help of Kafka topic. So they don't want to use the REST API get and all. So let's say, and the contract between the end user and the Kafka topic will be this student name, student ID, and age. So that kind of scenario we are going to see. So first we will send this student object information to Kafka topic, and then consumer will use this same information with the help of this topic. So we will start with the Kafka setup. So let me check the Docker version. Okay, so 20.10.11 Docker version I have installed. So let me now just quickly start the Docker, because yeah, it is not started yet, so that's why I just started. And let me just create a new project. So I'll create a normal maven project, and I'll name it Kafka Avro setup with Docker, and finish, new window. Fine. So here I'm not going to do much. I will just create a Docker Compose file and add the services for Zookeeper, Broker, and Schema Registry. So let me create a new file, name it Docker Compose.yaml. Excuse me. Okay. Now we will use these images. So we have this zookeeper part here, and then we have a broker, and broker has the dependency with zookeeper. So this is the broker image and additional information. And now, and we have additionally the schema registry. So this will be the image for the schema registry, and along with that we have this control center. Like if we create a schema, in our case, when we create a schema for this student object, so that schema information and the key and the type, and means Avro file, let's say we want to create, and what is the uh, partition, and what is the offset, and the data visibility. So control monitoring point of view, we have control center. So let me add this file here. So yeah, in the docker compose.ml. So Yeah, we have this control center has the dependency with zookeeper, broker, and schema registry. With the help of this service, we will be able to see the topic information and the schema part of the topic and what information we are sending to this topic. All these information we'll see. Okay, so this is uh, it for this Kafka setup along with this schema registry and control center. And in our code, we have to provide the zookeeper information, broker information, and excuse me, sorry, and this schema registry information in our consumer bean and producer bean. Let me just up this images. So I'm going to use docker compose up -d. I'll use -d so that we can only see the images, not the basically this is the detached one. So I have so this docker compose basically run all the services and all the images it will made available for us. So let me check docker ps. So we have the we have our Kafka ecosystem ready. So we have zookeeper, broker, schema registry, and control center. And for control center, this is the port. So let's check the port. Okay, so here we have this control center ready, and we have not set up anything. So these are the default information when we up these services. And yeah, right now we don't have any topic, so we will very soon create one topic, and we will see additional information like retention policy of the data, schema, and partitions, um, things we can see. So that is the use of the control center, we what we just saw here. So this is the control center, and it is picking up the information from zookeeper, broker, and schema registry. Fine, so this is it about the Kafka setup. Now let me create one more project so that we can achieve this use case. So we will create a producer and we will create a consumer to first produce this data and send this data to Kafka topic, and then immediately consumer will consume this object information. So for that purpose, let me create one more project. So this will also be a maven project. I'll name it Kafka. Let me remove Kafka Avro producer consumer. Here let me just name it com dot services. Okay, that's it. Dependency and all I'll add. Okay, let me just have this somewhere, this information, and to save time I have created this project, so but I'll create along with you. So just to save time, let me just copy paste the information and we'll go through it. So in our project I just copy paste, but let me add our group ID, artifact, and version. Okay, and let me just change the name. Fine. So here in the pom.xml, what we have this Spring Kafka dependency and Avro, because we are going to use the Apache Avro for serialization and deserialization of the schema. And this is the Confluent dependency, Kafka Avro serializer. And additionally I used the plugin. So I will come to this very soon. So why I have added this plugin. So let me just create a resource. Okay, so here I'm going to create a application.property. Let me quickly copy this as well. Okay, so but I'll check this later. And as we saw, like we are going to produce this student object, and we are going to send this student object to Kafka topic. So for that reason we have to define the schema somewhere. So here we are going to use Avro, so we have to define this information somewhere. So for that purpose, let me create a folder under resource directory, the Avro, and have this Avro file. So I have this student.avsc file here. Let me paste. Fine. So we have this Avro file. So Avro file basically tells us like what we are going to send into the Kafka topic. So we are going to send a student name, which will be string, ID will be string, and age will be int. So the type, and this will be the class name. When this maven plugin will uh, create will use this file to auto generate the Java class, and that time student.java class will be created with the help of maven plugin, and that student class will be created under this package. So let me just change the package name also. So here we have com.services.this. I'll use same. Fine. So this is all about the Avro file. So under this package, student.java will be created with the help of Maven plugin, and these will be the fields with the type. So I guess that's it. And we have defined here this plugin, which is from the Apache. And here we define like from where you should pick the file and auto generate the Java class from the Avro file. So I'll share the link of this project, GitHub link, so you can download and you can also practice. Okay, so let me now create a package. com.services.this, and let me create first let's quickly do the maven clean so that we can have the dependencies defined in the maven clean. Okay, Let's see. Okay. Fine. Actually, I just wanted to make sure that whatever we defined in the pom.xml we have. Okay, so now let me just create a class like main class. This will be the app. Let me just copy paste this also. Only this one. So this will be our main class. That's nothing special here. So this will be the Spring Boot application. Fine. So this is okay. Now we will create a we'll create some packages. One is controller. No, we will have a producer and we will have a config and we'll have a consumer. We'll have the service. Fine. So what I'm going to do, I will create a post method uh, with the help of REST API, and when I will send this data, this will be sent to the Kafka topic, and the consumer will then consume the same information from the Kafka topic. So to achieve that, let me create a producer here. So I'll name it Kafka producer, and let me just quickly copy paste the post mapping and then we'll discuss. So here we have okay, so SLF4J REST controller and configuration. So configuration is because we are going to use the value from the application.property. So here we have in the application.property we have defined a topic name. That's what we are going to use here. And here we have the student. So when I run the maven clean package or maven clean install, it will create a Avro. So we defined in the pom.xml that package. So we have so same we will here import. And now we when we click on the post, this information we are going to send in the body, and then this information further we will send to the Kafka. So to achieve this, we will have to create one service. So let me copy the service. So we have Kafka producer service. In the Kafka producer service, first let me import this here. Okay, and then in the producers Kafka producer service, we have to create this send Avro data, and that will take a topic name and the information student object. So we have here the producer service and Avro data. So we'll create here also. Fine. And then we will use the service and SLF4J annotation. And let me import this information. Okay. Let me use the Kafka template. I'll explain why we are using this. Okay. So here in the Kafka producer, when we hit this REST API post call, then that student information will come here, and then further we will send this student object along with the topic name to this service. And in this service, I have just created a key, and why I have created I will explain very soon. And then I'm sending this key information and student object along with the topic name with the help of Kafka template. And in the Kafka template I have defined the string and the object. So this information will be available in the Kafka topic. So consumer is going to consume this information. Now when we hit Kafka template dot send, what will happen, this Kafka template is going to see the look for the Kafka configuration. So for that purpose we have to create the Kafka configuration. So let me create a config class. So Kafka producer config, and here in the Kafka producer configuration we have to define this Kafka template. So as I'm copy all the things from this project, let me close all and producer config. So here I will first create a Kafka template. So here we have Kafka template, and that will be same like string and student, and the name should also be same because that will be a bean. And then here we have to provide the producer factory like all the configuration like bootstrap server and serialization and deserialization part. So let me just have this configuration annotation. Let me import this, import soon, and this method we have to copy paste this producer factory. Okay, so now we can see that when we hit this post create student, this will come here, and then this service will be called with the help of this topic name, and the topic name is defined here. And now this service will be called, and in this service we have Kafka template auto wired, and this Kafka template will have all the configuration, and then this will send the key and value to this topic. And now when we see the Kafka template, so here in the configuration, this Kafka template is going to have the configuration from this producer factory method. And here we have defined the bootstrap server information, schema information like I mentioned, producer will have the Kafka information and the schema registry information. And then we are going to use the string serializer. That's why we have the string information here, and we are going to use the Avro for the value. That's why we are able to use the model. So here we have this information, and that's why we use in the configuration Kafka Avro serializer. So producer part is now ready. Let me now quickly test this. Okay. So our setup is already up and running, and right now we don't have any topic. So let's create a topic which the same we configured here in the application.property. Okay, so this is the topic, and the partitions, I'll let it one. I just hit create with default, and here we can see the messages, schema, and the configuration. So first we will just see in the configuration part, like when we are posting this data to Kafka topic, what will be the cleanup policy. So that kind of setting you can do. And the yeah, like you want to have this data forever, or like for 1 week, 2 week, like that. So retention policy and all you can define. I just use for 1 day, and size I'm not setting anything. And yeah, save changes. And here is the important part. So let me create a key and value like we have in our configuration. So here in the Kafka template we have a string and a student. So key, I'm going to use it string, and value, let me copy this Avro file so that our topic is also aware that I'm going to pass this Avro information to this topic. And yeah, so that this Kafka will register this schema into the schema registry. And this namespace and all is, it's okay. You can have it blank or something example or something. You can try it out, but that is not mandatory. The mandatory thing is type and the name and these fields that should match with the Avro file. So that's it. Save. And currently there is no production, no consumption. And yeah, so when we see, we have created this student data, and right now there should not be any message. Okay, so here we have jump to offset, jump to timestamp. So offset, like the particular message place, like on a particular topic partitions, offset is a where, like the first record and second record, something like that. When we push the first record, the offset will be 0, and then 1 2 3, so on. So okay, now let me just run the application. Okay, run. Okay, so the application is started on port 8080, but yeah, our initial point is Kafka producer, this post mapping create student. So we are, let me clear this log. So we are going to hit this API. So the name, student ID and age. So I'll hit send. Okay, data posted. So here you see we have the information like sent message successfully. Here, yeah, see, sending data to topic. So this is the information we are logging, and then sending data to Kafka topic, and whatever the configuration we have for producer, that is printed here, and the schema registry and all we can see. So you can just read this log, it is helpful. So here sent message successfully. Now when we see this, yeah, here, so in the student data we can see that we got the information. So in that way we saw that when our end user, when our client is saying that now we are going to end up the REST API call, we are going to read the information from the Kafka topic. So you, in that way you can achieve that. And the best part is the Avro, means later if something has been increased, means some data has been added, some field has been added, so simply what you need to do, you just come to your project and update your Avro file and update the Kafka topic Avro information schema, and that's it. Then you are able to scale the things, and this is asynchronous, so in that way you can achieve this Avro serialization part. Okay, so now we can also see, let's say if uh, we are working on a consumer side, so how to consume the Avro information in the consumer side. So most of the things will be same, and just we just need to create a consumer configuration and the consumer to get the data from the same topic. So let me quickly do that. For that I need to close the server, this Spring one. Uh, Let me clear that out, and now let me create a Kafka consumer. So Java class. This is a consumer. Let me just quickly copy and go through the things we have in the Kafka consumer. I'll just take this SLF4J component, and I'll copy this listener part and we'll check this out. So same, like we are going to consume the student information and the key is string, and we have to use this Kafka listener annotation and the topic name and the group ID and the container factory. So the container factory, like this particular consumer is going to use this container factory configuration. So I have also created some video, so you can check out the old videos. So there I just added some error handling and other information. So yeah, but for this video we have to focus on this consuming the data from the topic. So yeah, this is the straightforward things, and here in the listen method we have configured the consumer record information like we had in the producer. This part should be common, and we have this additional parameter acknowledgement. So I'll just let you know what it is. So here in the consumer record we can see the topic name, partition, offset and all. So I logged it, and then from this object we can fetch the key and value. So value is our student object. And then I when we successfully read this information, I said that okay, I'm good with this record. So this is the consumer part, and now we just quickly configure the this consumer part. So let me just create a Kafka consumer config. Okay, so here in the Kafka consumer config, we have to create this bean, my Avro consumer factory. So here I just copy this bean. Okay, and I'll just go through each line. So here in this configuration, first we need to configure the bootstrap server schema registry, and what we are going to deserialize key and the value deserialization, and some basic Kafka related configuration. So for that purpose we have this set consumer factory information. So basic configuration we must set in here in the consumer factory. So for that purpose we have this separate method. Let me just copy this information. Okay, so here we said that okay, we are going to use a string and Kafka Avro deserializer, and this is the bootstrap information, the group ID. Like in one under one group ID we can have multiple topics, so that consumer can be identified, like from which group ID these are the consumer and all. So that is the group ID, and then this is the schema registry URL, so which we saw during our setup. So here this is the schema registry. So same information we added. So that port and all 8081, so same we have added here, and the port for bootstrap server. Additionally, I have added this auto offset reset config earlier. So that means that like when first message has been pushed to the Kafka topic, offset will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So earliest means each time when you start this Spring Boot application, it will fetch from the beginning. So here we have latest also. So latest means when the last message was read. So that offset information will be stored, and next time when your application will be up, so from that point onwards Kafka consumer will start reading the messages. So that is the auto offset reset configuration, and this is the enable auto commit configuration. So I said about this acknowledgement. So when we say that when we say that okay, I'm going to manually handle the acknowledgement information, so we have to set this property false, and then we have to manually acknowledge each and every message. So actually this is helpful when we have any error and all. So in that way Kafka will know that okay, till that offset everything was fine, and all the things was acknowledged by the consumer. So I enabled it, and then this is the specific Avro reader configuration is true, because we have this Avro file, and that's why we said that okay, I'm going to consume the specific Avro information. So that's why I enabled it, and then we have a key which is a string here. So that's why I said it is a string deserializer, and the value is the Avro file. which is avsc. So that's why it is deserializer. And then yeah, that's it. So that's why this consumer factory is connected to the this Kafka cluster and the schema registry. And this is the manual acknowledgement. Additionally, we said that the container property acknowledgement mode is manual, so that's why we have to manually acknowledge it. Okay, so now our consumer part is also ready. So let me, and this is the log, like data consumed. So let me just up this application. Okay, so this is the app. Now run. Okay, so there might be some issue. My configuration factory could not be found. Let me check where's the problem. So this is the consumer factory component and the consumer config. Okay, so here I haven't set that the configuration and enable Kafka annotation, because when we start the application this is trying to configure the things and enable Kafka for us, but I haven't added. So let me just add that. So error is good actually, we just know how it works. Okay, fine. Now this should work. This should get this bean and yeah, this should work now. Let me up this. Cool. So you see that earlier I had sent this message, and that time we don't have the consumer. So now I just set up the consumer part, and that's why we are able to read this information. And why? Because in the consumer configuration I set this auto offset reset configuration earliest. So the offset part is now at the beginning point. So that's why when this application started, it is trying to read from the first offset. So that's why I am able to read this information. So let's see here in the message. So this is the partition 0 and offset. So here we have this key and 1, 2, 3, 4 and age. So same information. So let me clean up and run quickly for new record. Let's say XYZ 657 and 44 cent. Okay, so let me just refresh it. So we got this new information posted to this topic, and the same information should be consumed. Yeah, this should be consumed by the consumer. So see, acknowledged, and the same information has been consumed, and this is the topic, partition and offset. So when you see here the logs from the consumer record, I just printed the topic, partition and offset. So topic partition is 0 and offset is 1. So yeah, additionally we have here the replication factor, retention policy, and yeah, the offset part, and yeah, things so that you can read from the uh, Kafka side, and that will be very helpful when you are working with a very concurrent system and you want very high throughput, and that's why you have to configure the this configuration like yeah, like topic partitions and the replication factor. So that will be really helpful. I guess that's it for this video. We saw how to produce, how to generate the Avro file, like auto-generated Avro file, and yeah, we saw the producer part, we saw the consumer part, and one more thing. Let me just show you how it look like. So this is the auto generated from Maven plugin. So let me, yeah, just show you. So this is, and this is recommended, like we should not generate this file manually. This should be from the plugin. So yeah, that has been generated by the Avro plugin. Cool. So yeah, that's it, and I'll just very soon I'll upload this code and this Avro setup, and I'll provide the GitHub link in the comment. Okay, thank you so much. Bye.